So when it comes to follow-up, what I'm going to tell you is the less that we have to remember, the better we're going to be. Again, I'm going to say it again, the less we have to remember in here, the better off we're going to be. So that's why it's really important to have systems in place. And these are great automated systems. I'm talking about drip campaigns. So you have long-term drip campaigns, which are great for long-term clients, maybe someone that's going to work with you a year, it could be 6 months, could be 3 months, could be a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road. And then you have short-term drip campaigns for people that are, maybe a couple weeks out or a couple months out. So I'm going to share a story. A gentleman, I remember in the real estate business, I gave him a call. He was an expired seller. And he was really, really short on the phone with me. And I asked him if he was still interested in selling the property. He said no. I said, okay, well, what do you plan on doing with the property? He said, well, I put a tenant in the property. And he was about to hang up. I said, well, tell me, how long did you sign the lease for? He said, 2 years. I said, great. He hung up on me. And just for kicks, I put him in my system back then, which was Top Producer. And I put a 20-month reminder, okay? So 20 months out reminder, hey, give this guy a call. So I put my notes in there, which we talked about earlier. I said the guy was kind of grumpy. He said he signed a lease. It ends in 2 years. So then I completely forgot about this guy. Wouldn't even remember this guy if my life depended on it, until one day when I go into my system, I log in, and here's the guy's name, John Smith. I look at the notes. He was kind of grouchy. He was expired. He hung up on me. He said he leased his property for 2 years. So anyway, I had his phone number. I gave him a call. He didn't remember who I was from 2 years back or 20 months back. And I just said, hey, I was just wondering. I know your house came off the market a few years ago. You leased it for 2 years. The lease is coming up. Had you thought about selling again? And the guy said, man, wow, your timing's like perfect, because the tenant is not renewing and I am interested in selling. And it turned into a listing appointment for me, and then actually taking the listing. So it just shows how critical the follow-up is. And again, it's not like I was thinking about that guy. I didn't even know the guy existed until I logged into my system in the morning, and that email was there to remind me. So again, that's a great example of a long-term drip. We have the exact same thing for short-term drips. If somebody's maybe looking at doing something 2 or 3 weeks down the road, then you can put them on a drip where every other day they're getting some type of an email with value, something about your company, about your service, about the product they're interested in, just so you're keeping your name in front of them and you're not going to forget about them. And then obviously incorporate phone calls into that. So again, I'm going to say what I started this with is we don't, if we have to put things into memory, it's just not going to work. We really, really need to have a great system in place, and that's how we're going to be successful when it comes to follow-up.